15, 20 feet away, okay? And he went rolling back down into the command bunker, and his leg was up over his leg. I know this now because he, you know, we communicate, we all get back together and we have reunions every year, okay? And Charles was contacted me in 1995 and said, you know, you need to come on out, and started doing some name dropping and stuff. You need to come out and see some of the guys and stuff. So Charles told me what happened. I mean, I knew that he had, you know, been wounded when I was in country. You know, I mean, the word travels fast. Somebody gets wounded, somebody gets killed, something happens, you know about it. Okay, and of course, word came out that, you know, Charles was, you know, got wounded pretty bad. He was getting medevaced. You know? And then later in the day, you know, he's over at Charlie Med, which is at the, you know, at the Quezon base, and they said they had to take his leg off and his hip, you know. So he was my first casualty as far as you know, closeness goes, you know. And then my bunkmate, so to speak, Paul Douglas. He was a staff sergeant. We don't know how Paul got into the unit. Paul was not Special Forces trained, okay, but he was a LRP, which is a long range reconnaissance patrol person, you know. And I think, like I say, you hear all this information years later. You know, we never, when Paul was assigned to us, we never questioned the fact that he was a leg, and a leg is a person that's not airborne qualified. Okay, and we were Special Forces. He wasn't. He was a body, and he was knowledge. And that's all we cared about. Okay, and so Paul was a, you know, I believe he was a career soldier because he was a staff sergeant. Okay.
E6?
E6.
Okay.
Yeah. And had a wife and a couple of kids. And Paul and I had the same bunker together. And it was, our responsibility was a 60 caliber machine gun. Okay. Position. Okay. Along the trench line. And so that's where we lived for several months in this, and like I said, every place we went was just, but anyway, when you dig these trenches or foxholes, I'll call them a foxhole because that's probably what everybody would relate to, but it's more than a foxhole because we've got a cover on it and sandbags, and it's our living quarters is what it comes out to be. Okay, and it's not very big, just big enough to lay some lumber in there and put a couple, you know, sleeping bags in there, and one on top and one on bottom, and not much else. Okay. And when you dig it, you know, you don't dig it with an opening that's straight in. Okay, your opening goes in, turns in. Okay, you don't want a round landing in the opening and any kind of shrapnel going in. Okay, so that's the object behind digging an entrance that is not straight in. Unfortunately, it didn't make any difference. I think February 21st, I heard the mortar hit the tube, and everybody screams incoming, and I went down in the trench, and the round landed right on top of our machine gun nest. Okay, our position. And it was the closest round that had come to me, explosive round. I mean, a lot of rounds exploded all over, made big holes and everything, but this was the closest one. It landed right up on top of that, and it you know, I mean, the percussion from something that close is, you know, it's unbelievable. You know, it's just like, wow. And the head seems to go like this, you know, and all this dirt and crap and everything's flying all over the place, you know, and it's like, wow, man, that was close. You know, I mean, that was really close. Okay, So I get up, and I'm literally dusting myself off, you know, I mean, you know, the round landed above, on the top of the machine gun nest, overhead, and I'm down low in the trench, so all the shrapnel's going this way.
Sure.
Okay. Paul is inside of his, inside of our foxhole, living quarters type thing, and I run inside, you know, I get up and I stand up and I start yelling, "Hey, Paul, Paul!" And he didn't answer me, so I run over and I look inside, and he's hunched over, laying against the thing, you know, and I grab him and I pick him up, and his eyes roll back in his head, and you know, I rip open his shirt. You know, there's another funny thing about this guy. I don't know if it's SF, Special Forces guys or something, but it's like we would run around the camp with our t-shirts on and stuff, you know. But here's a guy that had a flak jacket, and he hardly ever took his flak jacket off, and we always kidded him about it, you know. Steel pot and a flak jacket. We were all told to wear it, but all us Special Forces guys, I guess we thought we were immune to it or something. But after that, things changed.
Right.
Okay. We have pictures. I have a couple pictures of Charlie and Paul and me sitting next to our machine gun nest there, you know. And it's, Charlie's in a bear t-shirt, I'm in a cut-off t-shirt, and here's Paul in the middle, and he's got a flak jacket on and a steel pot. You know. Paul gets killed. It was that round. It's like it always puzzled me. You know, it's like, why do things happen the way they do?
Right.
You know. I mean, the thing could have. No telling what could have happened. Okay?
Right.
And after we got him out, and I pulled him out, and I drug him out into the air, and I pulled open his shirt, okay, because his head's rolling back in his head, and he's gasping for breath. And I pull open his shirt because I see a hole in his shirt there, right here, on his left side like this. Okay, and I rip his shirt open, and there's just a little hole there.
Wow.
Not very big at all. Maybe the size of the tip of your finger, you know. But his eyes are rolled back in his head, and he's gasping for breath. So I'm figuring, okay, he's wounded. His lung has been punctured. And part of our training is, you know, cover the hole so he doesn't suck air in, you know. So I'm screaming. Somebody calls the medics. The medics come on down. We got him all patched up, you know. They take him over to Charlie Med. Charlie Med is the medical bunker at the Quezon base. We had a medical bunker, but very seriously wounded that were probably going to be evacuated and ended up at Charlie Med. Okay. And a couple hours later, we got word that Paul had died. And I said, "Wow, man, why? What happened?" You know, it looked like it was only just a chest wound, a lung, you know. And then I went over and I started looking at it, and you know, when we built the bunker, we scrounged a piece of 2x6 or 2x4 and made it like a header for where you're gonna support everything, your entrance inside, you know, and then you pile stuff on top of it and try to make it as, you know, bomb-proof, mortar-proof, or whatever as you possibly can. And I looked at that thing, and in that header was a hole. Okay, and I'm thinking, this is unreal, you know. I mean, he could have been sitting this way or this way, who knows, you know. And it's in, I think about it all the time.
Wow.
You know, I just think about it all the time. It just, here's a round that goes off over here, and a piece of shrapnel goes this way, goes through a big chunk of wood and hits this guy in the chest, ends up in his heart, and he ends up dying. You know? Yeah. It just, why do things happen the way they do? You know. It was just odd. You know. So. Yeah, those two guys were very close to me. And I mean, we lost some others too.
Sure.
I mean, we lost some other guys there too. Another guy, one of the most haphazard duty we had was the water truck. We had to get water from the Quezon base. So we had a water truck.
Right.
Anything moving up above ground, the NVA says, "Oh, we got a target," you know. Sure. So they're going to start shooting at it. So nobody liked water duty. Everybody got water duty, but nobody liked water duty, you know. And only one time, one guy, Eugene Hullinger,